the shotgun start in golf is full of mathematics. There's a lot of setup work that we have to do in order to make a tournament work. So I'm going to demonstrate to you just exactly how we do a shotgun start here.
Here we go.
All right, all right, all right. Gentlemen, start your engine!
Greetings and welcome to a Monday edition of the Shotgun Start. It is June 22nd. Andy, how we doing?
Brendan, I'm doing fantastic. I gotta say, let me tell you, that was a great golf tournament. Honestly, phenomenal golf tournament. I think we come to a lot of these, and I thoroughly enjoyed the whole week out there, and I thought Sunday really delivered.
Yeah, I think, to quote my good friend Paul Azinger, who was on the call last time, not my good friend, it's a figure of speech, on the call last time at Shinnecock, control the controllables. That like little cliche he says, like when you control like where it is, how it's set up going in, who's in the field, like they did like everything they could to make it good, and then you kind of let go and figure out, you get what you get on the golf course. And I thought the USGA did a very good job. I thought it was a great golf tournament. There were some quibbles. It wasn't, a home run all the way around. We do come to a lot of these now at this point. I walked out there tonight feeling like pretty fulfilled, feeling very fulfilled, feeling like that was a great experience. And I wrote something this morning about how the USGA kind of like did a lot of, like, they left millions on the table. They tried to make this really about the golf course and the championship on the golf course. And I got a lot of response of like, yeah, except it's boring. This is boring as hell, like failure, boring. And that was before we got to today. And I think today delivered. And like, I think we've grown to accustomed to, or we've gotten spoiled, I think, a little bit by every major is not going to be Rory completing the career Grand Slam in the most ridiculous fashion or Tiger winning. I think we're like, pretty spoiled. Rory and Scottie won a lot of them there for about a year and a half.
And then you had Xander.
Yeah. I thought this was like an exceptional major, and I really enjoyed it. And boring was just not the word I would have used last night, and certainly not tonight after the final round.
I mean, Saturday, the Wyndham Clark round was, I don't know how you could describe it as boring, because he was hitting it all over the place and getting up and down from all over the place. And it set up this like, wow, like, is he going to put the field to bed early? And it looked after hole one, it was like, oh, Scottie makes a bogey and Wyndham Clark, just gains another shot on his lead. I have so many things to take away. There's so much to talk about, but I got to give props to Dub, as his friends call him. I gotta raise a glass of grape.
Grape has been opened,
which he's going to be celebrating with, and I got to cheers. Like, that was an awesome, gritty win, and closing out a tournament is so challenging, exceptionally challenging. I think in a way, when you have a big lead, closing out a tournament actually becomes a little bit more difficult, because it's so rare that you have a 6-shot lead in a major championship. Like, you talk about like what makes golfers uncomfortable is situations that you're not normally in. And it's, 54 hole lead, huge lead. And I think you saw like the front nine, he was battling it. And obviously then there was the external things that he was dealing with the fans that, like, I don't know if we'll ever see an American playing in the U.S. Open kind of be dealt with such hostile fans, I would say, and
hostile is an appropriate word.
And just like, I just was miffed at so many occasions where it's like, that shot he just hit was amazing and nobody clapped.
All the way down. The birdie on 10, just muted.
That was one of the most crazy approach shots I've ever seen.
The lag putt on 18, it was like a sense of being deflated, right? He hit it to whatever, a foot or less, and it was like claps, but a kind of like It was wild. I don't want to overstate it. I think hostile was an appropriate word. I was talking to colleagues out there. What I first sort of compared it to was maybe Patrick Reed, Rory McIlroy in 2018 Masters. But of course, a Masters crowd, is more or less not hostile. They can be muted for the guy they don't want to win. And it was very muted for Patrick Reed that day. This was hostile. It was like, get in the bunker, you suck, locker. Like a lot of get in the bunker, a lot of clapping and audible cheering when his ball would not hold or roll away slowly, like at 13. And then throughout 15 or 5, I'm sorry, when his chip came back to him. It was
cheering with for missed putts.
Yeah, it was hostile. It was notably hostile. I think there were a couple things. Paul Kimmage from across the pond, Ireland, asked me, like, what is it just the behavior? And I think that's like a part of it. There's like a narrative around Wyndham's behavior. I think a couple things came together that were a perfect storm. One, they wanted to see a close tournament, and it wasn't close to start with, so therefore cheering against the guy who's way out in front makes it more interesting for the fans. 2, you had Scottie Scheffler going for history in a Grand Slam, and that's like a momentous thing. On his birthday and Father's Day and all this other stuff. So that's another thing. Like, I want to see Scottie complete the career slam while I'm here. I want it to be interesting. And then you did have the behavior thing. Like Wyndham, this narrative around Wyndham is like he's a prick, or he's aloof. He's not somebody I want to root for. Still super bizarre. That's not enough to get what we got in terms of rooting against him.
What's wild to me is like, if I don't think like the treatment fits the crime.
I like, you can think he is terrible, doofus, bro, not my speed. I still don't get like yelling about it.
That's cheering. What I don't get. Like, yeah. Okay,
I don't want him to win, but then the acting on it is different.
I think breaking a locker is bad. Okay, I think breaking a T-Mobile sign at the PGA was bad. But those are like individual acts of anger because the game of golf is frustrating, And I'm not excusing the effectively but never. Like to go out.
We were on him. We got all over him.
We've been all over it. But to go out and just like effectively boo the guy for 5 hours he's trying to win his National Open was crazy. But I think there's so much to, you could just see how hard it was. Like, I mean, Wyndham hasn't had his best stuff he didn't have his best stuff all weekend. And he had to just grind this thing out. And it's such a hard golf course when you get out of position. And he just found himself out of position, having to get up and down. I think he got some great breaks. But at the end of the day, like, between the birdie on the way he played the back nine for the most part was pretty nails for closing out a tournament. The birdie on 16, the birdie on 10, and then the 2-putt on 18 was amazing.
Great 2-putt. I'll say, like, clearly someone who can have like ride the emotional roller coaster. He damaged a locker when he got really angry. He, chucked a driver through the sign, like you said. Clearly someone can be temperamental. I'm trying to think of like more grueling circumstances to win a major. You start with the mentality of having a big lead. That whole, like, the only things that can happen are like what's supposed to happen. You win and close it out, or it's an all-time Greg Norman giveaway slowly over time, or an explosion in one hole. So like, you start with the lead. That's a mentally challenging place to be. You start with the fact that it's the U.S. Open. Then you add this U.S. Open at Shinnecock when they know they're trying to turn it up. Like, it's gonna be as firm as it's gonna be. Maybe the wind's down, but it's gonna be as firm as it's gonna be. Then add in that everyone's going to be talking shit to you the whole way around, literally off the tee, around the green.
Everywhere.
And you have to keep your cool. And you're already kind of a temperamental bro. Like, you have to keep your cool. Like, an incredible performance. I don't know. He's not like my speed, but I thought it was incredible to watch him play. He didn't have like his best stuff today either, but kind of had enough when he needed it. 16. He played poorly off the tee. That's an incredible birdie. I mean, it's a pretty big bonus putt from the back of the green to make there, but an incredible birdie given the crap he drove it into. And his shot on 10 is, even Scottie goes thumbs up. Scottie, who's, talking about being in the arena and you got to be able to take it. We'll get to Scottie here in a minute. The sheriff was busy eating donuts or something. They were too busy directing traffic outside the gates. I mean, Wyndham has not been my cup of tea. He's not necessarily. I found him impressive.
I think there's I
guess I'm an apologist now. People are mad.
I guess one of the things that people need to disassociate. Golf makes people do crazy stuff. It's an individual sport. This is, again, I'm not excusing his behavior. He should not do what he did. But it makes you do crazy stuff. And it feels to me like people think he's a bad person because of these fits of rage that were induced by golf. When there's been a history of people that have also been enraged by golf and done terrible things, And I think, I think Wyndham's probably, as you said, not everybody's cup of tea, but I think I know some people that know him very well. From the most part, it seems like he's a genuinely good friend to his friends. It seems like family's important to him.
They call him Dub.
Yeah. And anybody I've encountered that knows him personally is that guy's a good guy. And I think it's interesting to me, Tyrrell Hatton gets this moniker of, oh, it's funny when he goes absolutely psycho on the golf course. And Wyndham, I think Wyndham's done worse things than Tyrrell. Tyrrell mostly just goes on explicitive rages.
Yeah, breaks the tee marker every now and then. Yeah.
But Wyndham has gotten this awful reputation based off of a couple, regrettable actions.
I think if you can dislike him, you can not like him. I think the locker thing being the only reason, we have to get beyond that. I said that last night. The narrative that, look, Tiger did pretty bad things on the golf course in terms of temperamental outbursts. That didn't become his entire narrative arc, and it has been for Wyndham. I don't know that that's fair. If there are other reasons you dislike him, fine. Elephant in the room here, there's a political aspect probably for some people why they don't like him. He has tweeted about certain things, and if that's why you're going to hate him winning a golf tournament, I think that's maybe not the most a little misguided, but you know what? That's fine. I don't know that you should be yelling then, and I don't think that's why people were yelling. I doubt that the reason Hampton's golf crowd is probably not a political reason that they didn't want Wyndham Clark to win. So that is an element for some people. It's bizarre, but let's talk about his golf.
Well, I think the other aspect of this is his first major. People, I think, were super disappointed that Rory McIlroy didn't win that major.
Yeah.
And I think that's a piece of where people are mad at Wyndham also, is that they feel like he shouldn't have won that tournament. And there's also, but at the end of the day, now he has 2 U.S. Opens, LACC, Shinnecock. At LACC, he outdueled Rory, Scottie, and Ricky Fowler. Today, he played in the final group with the undisputed, when he won at LACC, Scottie wasn't the Scottie is now. Mm-hmm. He played with the undisputed, the best golfer in the world, stared him down and beat him. And kind of held him at bay all day, and I just think in terms of, there's some legacy, who knows how many wins he gets to, he it seems like I would guess if I had to, put a number on it, he'll probably get to about 10 wins on his career. But 2 majors, 10 wins, maybe he gets another one. And like at the end of the day, the shots that he's hit under extraordinary pressure is amazing. Like he is someone that hasn't wilted, and the putt on 17 was not a good putt. But at the same time, the putt on 16 earned him that 2-shot advantage to where he could go, afford a bogey coming down the stretch.
What about the golf today that like most impressed you? Was there a moment where you didn't think he was going to win? And then was it that he went out in 38? Look, I watched him from the jump at the range. Had a really interesting range session. Like Julie Elion was out there.
She was everywhere.
Very present, very out there. He said after the round, like, I don't know, sometimes she comes, sometimes she doesn't. I'm good either way. But she was out there for sure. And he just had this whole, like, he went through it with his caddy, like, all right, when, did his warm up, nothing crazy or unorthodox. It was just cool to listen into. It was like, what's the win on this hole? And like practicing the precise shots he's going to hit all the way through. Like, is that south-southwest or maybe cross? Like, take the wedge out, practice that shot, probably through the first few holes. Nothing crazy. It was just cool to be there. And then he comes out, and he's clearly like a little nervy. His tee shot on 2, hard tee shot, hard hole, was pretty bad, miles left. And then that you'd see that pop up again at 16. Like he had a little bit of the lefts going at different times today. Was there a moment you think, he's fully pissing this away?
We are lucky now where we have a staff of people, and like we're able to divide and conquer these.
And we
things.
want to watch the golf. We like to go out and see all as much golf and cover it as comprehensively as we can. It's great to be here.
And a little peek behind the curtains, like I feel like Brendan and our job is to cover for podcasts, and then we had Joseph and Kevin covering it and for writing, and they had their assignments, and and then you got PJ just floating around looking for mischief.
Which he got today. He's got some more toasty stuff. And Joseph and Kevin will be here, too. Good chiming in. Go ahead.
But I felt like I watched Wyndham through 3, and then it was Burns coming up on 7. And at that point, I just had this feeling about Burns on yesterday that he was going to make a run, and he had already started that run. So I rode with him the rest of the way. I watched the telecast while I'm out there. So I'm like, I've got an AirPod in, and, I kind of felt like he was going to lose it after 5. That's where.
That was a bad bogey. Obviously one of the 2 par 5s. If it's not a birdie hole, you can't make a bogey there. And he goes lawn, which is dead, in 2, lawn and 2.
And I think like there are a couple of moments in the round that were like super important. The putt on 6 to me felt like the round saver, where he almost bogeyed that. He bogeyed 7, but that putt on 6, getting that to go was such a big putt when you look back. But on 5 is where I really was like, I think Sam Burns is going to win this golf tournament. And obviously he had a couple slip-ups on the back 9. He hit some incredible shots. But the 2 of them, the other aspect of it was like Scottie was always lurking, and you were kind of waiting for that Scottie run that just never happened.
Yeah, while following them, I don't want to say like Wyndham was lucky. That's not what I mean. It certainly made things a little more comfortable that Scottie never really turned it on. Put a lot of putts around the hole, but he wasn't very good today. And I think that changes a little bit of the dynamic for Wyndham. And, Scottie never really put it on him, put the pressure on. And that was really from the jump with the bogey at 1.
I mean, yeah, I don't know what he was doing on 1.
Going lawn.
Yeah.
It's like a strategic. That's not what we see from Scottie too often, the strategic bad blunder.
I felt like with Scottie all week, it was just like slightly not sharp. Whether it was with the putter, he didn't hit the ball great on Thursday. I thought he hit the ball pretty well today, for the most part, but the putts didn't go. But one, he just gave away a shot. Like that's one place he can't miss long, and he was coming from a bad angle there. That's what I was actually most surprised with, is he kind of took on that back flag and maybe missed, maybe he was more aggressive than he meant to be. But taking on that back flag for him from where he was, it made no sense. It made a lot of sense from where Wyndham was because he had the angle in. But yeah, the round just constantly felt like it was slipping away. And that's the really challenging aspect of having the big lead, is you have this like it almost feels like you can't play like yourself. Because you're protecting, you're not just going out there and you're thinking about, there's one stroke, another stroke, and Burns makes another birdie, and that lead keeps getting small. I thought like making the turn for Wyndham, it felt like he had to have reset mentally and been like, okay, I think when he made the turn, he was up 1. I'm only up 1. I need to go play golf again and not try and just like protect and milk this lead. It kind of felt all day like one of those basketball games where the other team has the lead and they're just trying to get it to they're milking clock way too early to milk clock.
Like Spurs, Knicks, game 4. Was that it? Was that when they were up 27? Cavs, it's scary. You're just trying. Prevent defense. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And for Wyndham, I mean, playing the way he played 10, I mean,
send it all 4 days. He's like, we're sending it up there.
You followed Wyndham. What would you say were like the biggest moments of like these shots were the biggest moments of his day?
The shot on 10, and 10 was sort of the star hole of the week. It was in the preview materials for most people. It was when the winds came up. It was when there were setup discussion. Everything was kind of, this is the microcosm of the USGA setup of Shinnecock Hills. And so it was kind of rewarding to see such a pivotal shot occur there. And he mentioned, our strategy was to send it all the way. Interestingly enough, it went all the way up. It ended up kind of near that drain that Rory talked about, how he thinned it on Friday, was it? Mm-hmm. Was it Friday or Saturday? He thinned it because through the green, he was like, I was worried it was soft there, and it's just tricky, obviously a few other elements. And there's just so much that can go wrong there, right? And to put like that amount of spin on it, when if you spin it too much, it's coming back to your feet. And given the context of the day to that point, like leaving one short at 5, not having like the best short game at that time, was like total stones. Like the guy, that's like U.S. Open winning shot. So that was a massive, obviously converts the putt, but just an incredible, like ballsy shot. You got to make it.
You think about the way he played leading into that hole, like 4 was a mess.
Yeah. Yes.
5 was a mess. 6 was, he made a 12-footer to get out of there. 7, he misses the short putt after a good bunker shot, but he left himself in a really tough spot. 8, he drove it into a bunker. 9, I thought the 9 up and down was huge.
Big one.
9, he gets up and down from the thick stuff short of the green.
Right, short, yeah.
And then 10's like the first moment in, how many holes is that? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's in 6 holes. 10's the first one where he just like stripes a drive and hits like, that approach shot was amazing. I mean, I thought when I was watching it on my phone, I thought Scottie's approach shot was amazing. And then he hit that and I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't believe he spun that back. All-time shot. And then, obviously, he kind of cruises through 11 and 12, too.
Yeah, 11 was a great shot where there's a lot of danger lurking and gets it to stay and misses the putt, but great shot to remove, like, the big number there. Yeah, it was a ballsy performance when he didn't have his best. 16 would be the other kind of massive moment, right? And you assume it's over. You kind of go, oh, well, he just made whatever it was, like a 40-footer from the back of the green, and it's over. When it looked like he would be struggling to make a 5 off the tee shot. So that one, you're like, all right, well, he's the U.S. Open champion, makes it harder on himself again. I think Poa, the greens were a little bumpy. He did the little hand wave thing on 17 because he didn't really get it to the hole. And the lag put on 18. I think we've gone over, but the shot on 10 and then somehow salvaging a birdie at 16 when it looked like that was going to be a massive swing. Like all the leaders ahead of him, Tom Kim, not the contenders ahead of him, Tom Kim, Sam Burns, like they were getting their birdie there, and it looked like 5 would be a great score based on the tee shot. For him to come away with 4 like that, I mean, I guess it did win him the U.S. Open in the end, but it felt like open and close there. He still obviously had to grow. That's what I just can't. That's what I'll take away from this. Like the set of circumstances, everything just sort of kind of stacked against him, right? With the people yelling at him and really needing to do it till the very last lag putt, 4 hours at Shinnecock Hills. Like I have to respect it. It's a 73. It wasn't his best round, but do you think he got the wave draw? These are the way the majors go. Burns is on the wrong side of the bad side of the draw.
He ended up one shot ahead. I mean, yeah, he got the benefit, but there were a lot of guys that got the beneficial draw that didn't take advantage of it.
John Rahm,
yeah,
Bryson DeChambeau, DJ. Yeah.
So if you think about from that perspective, he went out and got it and did it. Obviously a wire winner at Shinnecock. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, he now has 2 U.S. Opens. Joins a pretty illustrious club of multiple U.S. Open winners, whether it's Koepka, Trevino, obviously Bryson as a contemporary. So super impressive performance. If you're into impressive performances, you should go to Dick's and or Golf Galaxy. Check out the MaxFly Tour Series of golf ball. Ben Griffin, we saw him this morning. He was practicing on the range. He took a picture of the MaxFly bag. Did a little Q&A with Todd Lewis. I don't know if Todd was as inquisitive as we were on Monday with Benny G. But looked like he's a star.
If Todd was smart, he might have said, are you playing with an advantage this week with your golf ball choice? There's one golf ball brand that 100% of their players finish in the top 20 of this year's U.S. Open, and that's MaxFly.
100% of players. I love that. And that's why this episode is brought to you by MaxFly. Let your game do the talking. They've been a leader in golf equipment for over 100 years, known for innovation and excellence. Ben Griffin, as well as Lexi Thompson and Sean Foley. We learned more about how into it Sean Foley doesn't sign his name onto things he doesn't believe in. Apparently, he's an absolute proselytizer of the MaxFly ball. He's all in. Benny G on for 2028. You can go get your MaxFly at Dick's or Golf Galaxy for just $39.99 for a dozen, or buy 2, stock up. It's only June. You got a big summer of golf ahead. 2 for $70, 2 dozen for $70. That's a great deal these days. Go to Dick's or Golf Galaxy in-store or online to purchase the MaxFly Tour Series.
Hey, I want to ask you a question from the chat here.
Oh, God.
You are an expert in this.
What's that?
I saw a question from Mike Bodo here that asked, does 2 majors automatically qualify you for the Hall of Fame? And I figure there's no better person to ask than you.
Why would that be?
I just, I think you're an expert when it comes to the Hall of Fame.
Okay. You're just putting me in a pickle here. You're putting me in a pretzel. I don't know if I'm... Yeah. I think, I don't know automatically.
Automatically?
No, not automatically. I think it's a very strong argument. But there's some suspect 2 major winners. I would say maybe two U.S. Open
Who would be at the top of the suspect?
Bad, might be one of them. The ringtone. But Goosen, Strange, Payne Stewart, Bryson, Lee Jansen, Andy North, and now Wyndham Clark, along with Trevino, Els, and Koepka, have all won 2. It's a beefy that's like post-war era, modernish era.
You didn't include Ralph Goodall.
Goodall won it. I mean, that was pre-war.
He was a problem.
It's interesting. I think people are probably trying to wrestle with the fact that Wyndham Clark Hall of Famer is a discussion we're having tonight, quite frankly.
This is where, I mean, there's a lot of layers to Wyndham, but as a player journey, I think it's pretty interesting. Obviously, big time talent out of college, struggles, figures it out, and then like wins a major. And then he got up to 3 in the world.
He won a major on the heels of he was in the opposite field events, alternate events. Like it wasn't like he had been cruising at signature events and contending at players. He won a major. He was been playing like the Puerto Rico Open the month before.
And then he won in the lead up. Didn't he win the Wells Fargo before too?
Yes.
So he gets and then all of a sudden he's the 3rd ranked player in the world. And then it bottoms out again last year.
Really bottoms out.
And this wasn't very far after. And I think there were questions of like, is he done last year? Like, is he in that bad of a spot that it's over? And here it is, like, here we are 6 months later. And again, he won TPC Craig Ranch. Played decently in the Masters. He played great at Memorial. He played great at Canada. And now he wins this. And you could make an argument, and it's probably a true argument, that since the Masters, he's been definitely since the PGA, he's the best player in golf.
Yeah.
And I would say, in terms of just right now, he's probably a top 6 or 7 player in the world. And it's just been such a strange, kind of career. As the Doors would say, what a long, strange, weird trip it's been.
As the Doors might say. Yeah, it's...
I think I kind of butchered that. Sequencing of it.
I think people are struggling with it, quite frankly. I think people understood, like, Sam Burns. They would understand, like, breakthrough win. Super American talent, great amateur career. I think Scottie Scheffler, breakthrough, slam. I think people didn't know what to make of Wyndham, but he went and did it really from Thursday. It was clear he was on. I ended up following him essentially because I was following the group in front of him, the Bryson group. They were right ahead of him, so I was kind of watching both shots. And like he was on from the get-go, and he's been the best player, like you said, really since the PGA. And he got across the line barely, but he did, shooting a 73. It's hard to like quibble. He putted very well. He scrambled really well. He started hitting it like a little sketchy on the weekend, but it's hard to quibble. I know there's this notion that like maybe it was like a putting contest, and his putting stats were strong. They weren't as good as Keith Mitchell or JT Post, like other top 5 players. Everybody putted decently, but it was just around the green. He was elite. He was elite all the way through the bag. And just on the weekend, there were some scruffy shots that it made it seem like, oh, he's just getting away with these putts that keep rolling in to save par.
Here are his stats in strokes gained ranked. Off the tee, 14th. Approach the green, 22nd. Around the green, 12th. And putting, 4th. It's a pretty damn good all-around performance. I think people just go nuts, too, because he likes to, like, his go-to shot is a big fade.
Which was interesting when...
Like, he hammers the shit out of it. Like, it's not... Yeah, I know when you put a tracer line on it, it looks like a municipal slice.
A wife, yeah.
But he hammers the crap out of it. Like, on 14, it went like 380 on that hole. Yeah. And it was a big fade.
I think I wish the shot on 16 had happened on Sunday. I hope that's not lost to history. That's one of the all-time great approach fade shots from whatever it was, 275, I think it was.
Did you hear him talk about that?
I did. I don't know.
So he was in between clubs. He was like, it was a perfect 5-wood.
Right.
So this is the 16th hole on Saturday.
Yes. It makes
that set up the eagle. He talked about, And again, I think the discourse of this week to me, where I'm like settled at, is if Scottie or Rory or Xander or insert whatever player you want into this did some of this stuff, people would be going bananas about it. But on 16, he said it was a perfect 5-wood, but I don't have my 5-wood. So we went with the 3-wood, and he hit this like basically like, flop wouldn't be quite the right word, but this like open the face, soft, big fade 3-wood into a hole that I think he was the only person that eagled the hole all week. And he hits it to 3 feet. And it's like, that was just pure shot making.
Scottie had an eagle putt.
He had an eagle putt, but he didn't make the eagle. Okay. But it was beautiful, pure shot making.
Yeah, like not the opposite of TrackMan robotic golfer.
Yeah.
On a firmish course at that point, hitting that shot is incredible. Having to take something off a 3-wood.
And he's a great putter. He always has been a great putter. He was a great putter in college. He's powerful. And when he's played well, he's also been a really good iron player. And this year he's been a really good iron player. This is an elite golfer.
Well, now he gets to open some grape. Did he testify as to whether he would be opening some grape?
We are definitely opening up some grape. A lot of grape.
Did you laugh out loud when he said that? We were in the room. I was dying, given the...
His press conference had a couple of laugh out loud moments when he was hemming. It was your question, that got him hemming and hawing. You asked him, he had a dream.
Well, at Julie Elion, who, Jesus.
Very available.
I mean, there's fucking of the century. Afterwards, she was talking at the top of the hill. 18 said, he had a dream, but she wouldn't say it. It's probably, patient client privilege. She just goes into it. So I was like, maybe he's the patient. I'll ask him, what was the dream? And I thought we'd get something good, emotional, weird, whatever. He goes, it was nothing prophetic, but man, it was like wild. Some wild shit happened in that dream. But that was it. Yeah, there was some. He was gregarious, as you would expect someone to be. I don't know. I guess we're coming across as probably Wyndham apologists right now. I don't know. I just watched him win this incredible major. I guess what am I supposed to say? I next time he does something stupid or says something stupid, we'll call him out on it here. I don't know what I'm supposed to be mad that Scottie didn't win or Sam Burns didn't win. I don't know. I guess I don't call me an apologist.
I think there's
a great major.
Like why you like to watch sports is to watch people do, amazing things under intense situations, and everything that was working against him today was, made the win, I think, more satisfying to watch. Because, when he hit a putt, he hits the putt to win on 18. He hits that lag putt, which was incredible. That was a hard putt that he had. And he just leaves it like 4 inches away from the cup. And there's barely an applause. I kind of turned to this guy behind me, a volunteer, and I was like, what the fuck is wrong with these people?
Did you say that?
Yeah. Man.
Oh, that's the way, I watched you. You almost got taken to the ground this morning on the range. You had to dust up with security on the range. I hate to see it end with the potential issue. We got summoned.
Get out of here. That was the biggest non-story.
I thought you were going to be, on the ground in cuffs with the knee in your back. No, you.
I was just trying to do my job. Felt a little bit like Scottie at Valhalla.
Then the USGA guys come over. It's like, they could tell they kind of knew. Maybe familiar with the work. So you guys got some scuttle now to talk about with the guy, the security guard F-bombing you. Anyway, so you end with, what's wrong with these people?
Well,
it was tepid. It was tepid.
Just like insane all day. It felt that way. But anyways,
it's enough. Wyndham
earned it. He went out and won it. Can
I ask you, seems to have a very strong golf game that travels. He's won at Shinnecock Hills. He's won at LACC. They've seen a notion that like both those places are wider, and we had similar leaderboards to this week. CJ Cup, like you see a Keith Mitchell at both. You've seen Wyndham Clark at both. He seems to have he's won at a handful of different places now, Wells Fargo being one of them. Are we like, what's the ceiling here? I don't want to say like it's not a floodgate situation or anything like that. Is he what are we talking about here? He hasn't performed great at any other majors, but it's still, he's not young. It's early-ish in his career. Like, are we going to see him run up the tally? Is he a 4 major winner? Is he going to Koepka territory? I don't think that's the case. But
would you go over 2.5 or under 2.5?
That's the question. He had a T4 at Portrush. That's literally his only other cup of coffee beside his 2 wins.
Would you have thought he was going to get to 2 after LA?
No. It's a great career. It's a great career right now.
I mean, yeah, 2 majors is bona fide.
But those places too. I mean, it's incredible. Both on each coast. I think I'm not going over 2.5.
I think the thing that I would, the last 2, you know, LA and here, the similarity was like you're just waiting for him to spit the bid, and I do think a piece of Windy that he doesn't give away the lead. The guy is a fighter. He's grinds it out, and I think that's what I'm most impressed with. So my bigger question is, if he gets in the mix, he's gonna be there. You know what? I'll say he's gonna win another major.
All right, there we go.
I think
PGA maybe.
Do you have more faith in him winning another major or Matt Fitzpatrick?
Ooh, decent question. Similarly situated. I would say Matt Fitzpatrick is more like consistent right now, week to week, year to year, major to major. God, Fitzy was ugly at times this week, so that's tough to answer in the moment. I think I would go Fitzy, adding another major.
I think that's a question. Who's more likely to win another major, him or Morikawa? These
are provocative questions. I feel like they're all 50-50 balls. Wyndham, that one I could say.
I don't think any of these are slam dunks one way or the other. Yeah. So that tells me there's like a good chance of him winning another major.
What about a guy who hasn't won one, who you followed for a good chunk of the day? Slamming Sammy Burns.
I got big. He didn't walk away with a win today, but he did walk away with a promotion. He's no longer the deputy. He's Sergeant Sam. I think he showed some stuff today.
That's good. I mean, Scottie had to call in backup. Scottie was kind of hobbling along. He was chasing kids through backyards. He was running away. His leg got caught on a fence post or something. He was hobbling along. Called in Slammin' Sam, who came running around the corner to finish off the chase. Promoted. Okay.
There was this little cart.
Deputy Sam.
It's not Deputy Sam. It's Sergeant Sam.
Sergeant.
You got to treat that man with respect. He gets another bar on his uniform.
I mean,
today I was walking around and there was a little sheriff cart with 3 cops riding in it.
Yeah, it says sheriff in big letters on it, on the glass.
And I almost asked them. I was this close to asking them to stop. It would be like, This is gonna be stupid. I have to take a picture for a bit. But then I was like, these guys I already had one dust up. I'm not.
You were already. Has he given any inkling of being into like fairness, fair police, or is it just because he's friends with the sheriff? Okay. I mean, it's 2 U.S. Opens in a row. He's there very late on Sunday. Impressive stuff.
I thought he was awesome today, and everybody's gonna like hang on he missed the putt on 15.
17.
The putt on 17 wasn't great. There were so many great shots in between there and great putts between there. Like the save he had on 13 was really freaking good. The iron shots, really 16, 17, and 18. That was a guy that had what it took to win a tournament. And yeah, he fell one short. And it's so easy to go and litigate, oh, he didn't hit this putt. But the shot to me that stood out the most, and Sam Burns plays a left to right shot shape. He is a fader of the golf ball. And on 17T, the wind's off the left, a really hard par 3, and the pin is just shoved in the back left corner. And there's only one way, and you saw player after player not hit it close there, as almost everybody on tour hits a fade. They all ended up right. Sam Burns hit like a draw up against the wind, turned it right to left to 8 feet. It was awesome, an awesome shot. The putt on 16 was great. 18 to hit it to 15 feet and give yourself a legit shot. And then after 17, he didn't hit his best putt on 17. He hit a phenomenal putt there, and it just didn't go in. And that's the way the cookie crumbles. But to me, you've seen this. Sam Burns is becoming a world-class player in front of our eyes. I think like 2 years ago, I wasn't sure if he was ever going to, like, it was ever going to click in a major.
He's
I
just
think
a
the
putter
discussion
on the tour.
was like,
Bermuda.
is this guy just a guy that can beat up tour courses and not contend? Now, I feel like he's going to be in the mix almost every single major he tees it up at. And you go down the list, like the Masters, he was in the mix. He was in the mix at last year's U.S. Open, obviously. He was in the mix at, was it Portrush? They shot 80 in the final round?
Troon.
He shot 80 in the final round. Like, he is stacking late contention, high leverage rounds, and he's getting better at it.
Only player to finish in the top 10 at the last 3 U.S. Opens.
And this is the way most people end up winning majors, is you get in the mix enough. Usually they aren't like Wyndham, where like you
win when you're in the hunt.
Most of the time you get in the mix a lot and you win, you pick one off. And I think it's a better time before Sam Burns wins one. And I thought he handled the whole thing so well.
He was awesome last year at the Oakmont.
Yes.
Like, he was great. We were in that scrum. I think you were too. Like, in that scrum when he came off, and having to go nuts on the USGA about the casual water drop, and he's just like, that's the way the cookie crumbles, essentially. And he was really class. I was impressed with Burns last year, and then again this year. Obviously, showed some emotion on a question from Kyle Porter about his dad. We consider him this sort of robot of like this monotone voice, and he is that, to be clear, in a lot of instances. But I think as he becomes more of a face of the tour, face of golf, he's showing us a few more, a little bit more personality, a few more takes. So really, really impressive. Kind of a guy that you just, seems like going forward at majors, you're going to put on like that tier 2, right? Maybe not your Rory, Scottie, whatever, Xander, whatever tier, but like right there, top of the tier 2.
Now here's a guy.
Tom Kim, is he getting a promotion real quick? Is he out of the doghouse with Tom Kim?
I think
slow as hell.
I'll say this.
So they put a lot of room between them and the last group.
Do you think Tom was playing for the points? I think he got her played his way into the Travelers this week.
He needs
I think that was an Aon top 5 performance. Unfortunately, the broadcast didn't hit on the FedEx Cup situation, unfortunately.
They did. At one point, there was a graphic that showed the map from Southampton to Cromwell. And I was like, why are we doing this? Why do we have to pop Cromwell? And that's, what, before we record this without me getting us off, for the people who said this was boring, go watch the effing Travelers next week. Go just fine. If this isn't your boat, go enjoy your Travelers. Enjoy your 3Ms. Like, this is what we want every week. And if we don't get Rory or Scottie winning with the 20-foot putt at the last, like, that's what majors are. We've been spoiled. And go indulge the travelers if you're pissed off about this being boring. Tom Kim, impressive showing.
8 on swing 5. Honestly, this is one of the beautiful things about Shinnecock. I'm sure we'll talk about the course a little bit. But,
yeah, it's good.
But you got Wyndham, like power player. I think Burns, you'd probably put in a similar vein of Wyndham, how he plays golf. Then you got Tom Kim, who does not hit the ball very far. Really well-rounded outside of that. You got JT Poston, not a long ball hitter. Keith Mitchell, great ball striker, obviously.
Sam Stevens,
yes.
Striker all week. How about Mitchell, Keith Mitchell? Did the touch them all, 70, 70, 70, 70, all 4 days?
He's the American Matt Jordan.
He's great. I mean, I know he gets a lot of social media boosting because of his wardrobe. He
was methodical today.
Slow.
I mean, it was tough at moments. It was real slow.
Interesting. Freezing Sam Burns, icing him?
No, just taking his time. Because I mean, honestly, he was in the mix.
Yeah, he was. He was under par there for a good bit. Under. Yeah.
And he had some great looks that just, I think the putter's always held him back. He just went to a mallet putter and is seeing a lot more success. Like if Keith Mitchell figures out the putting, he's going to win a couple times.
Yeah.
And
it's an if, though.
I know this mallet seems to be working a lot better because he was leading the field in strokes game. He was first in strokes game putting. Today, that putter cooled off a little. He had a lot of really good looks on that back nine where he could have pushed up into that 2-3 under spot. I legitimately, Keith Mitchell right now is probably thinking, man, I could have won that. I mean, the people who think they could have won it, I don't think JT Poston could have won it. I'm sorry.
No, he did show up on the broadcast there for just a little bit.
Tom Kim had to have felt like he could have won that tournament.
Right.
Scottie had to have felt like he could have won that tournament. If you're Joaquin Neiman, do you think you think you could have won that tournament?
No.
What was that quote he said?
Joaquin Neiman was asked, like, PJ, you have it. If you hadn't, if you were 7 shots better or just made a par on that hole?
If he had just made a par instead of an 11 on
plus
that
the
hole.
The 9 plus the 2.
The 9 plus the 2.
Point conversion.
Joaquin Neiman responds, if my grandma had wheels, she'd be a car.
What an incredible response.
That is an all-timer to end all-timers, in my opinion. That's up there. That might be quote of the year when it's all said and done. I can't wait to come back to that one in year in review. I mean, that's
I would just
banger.
say, like, tires. I don't know. I mean, it could be like a.
How did he have that?
A wagon.
How did he have that on the tip of his tongue?
I don't know. I don't know if there was a translation, but he doesn't have like full command of the English.
Well, that's the best part. English not his first language, and he comes up with an absolute banger.
I'm so impressed by the quote.
It's a great quote. It's fabulous.
But to me, the guys that probably felt like they could have won is those 5: Wyndham, Burns, Kim, Keith Mitchell, Scottie. Like, those were the people that legit had a real shot today.
Let's talk about Scottie. We organized, or I did, into winners and losers. I think everybody we've talked about so far has been a winner. Tom, Kim, everybody, Sam. I think I'd put Scottie in the loser category, but that's only because of the standard that we have become accustomed to. This was of a piece with sort of the Scottie we've seen. He's still like an incredible player. He's still the undisputed number 1 player in the world. His whatever B game, sometimes C game is good enough to be in contention, maybe even the final group of a major. I thought it was a pretty disappointing performance, and we're seeing him a decent amount this year not be able to get across the line. And after 2 years of like, okay, Scottie's here, nobody else, he's going to win. And some of it was like putting today. He missed a lot of putts. He had some sloppy, like 3 putts, like 14, I think. It was a sloppy 3 putt.
That was a bad.
Gassed it through the past
Felt
the
like
green,
he
past the hole.
kind of pushed there for the,
It's like, I got to make a birdie. I'm not leaving this short.
I can't remember who. There was a great quote earlier in the week. I can't remember who it was, and they were like, I think it was before their third round or after their second round. They said, I'm not going to go out there. I think it was Sam Stevens. I'm not going to go out there and try and make a bunch of birdies, because that's usually when you don't make a bunch. Like, usually great rounds just come to you. And to me, I think Scottie had like a little frustration today that those putts weren't dropping, and on 14 he went for it, and he wasn't patient. But this is to your point of what you were saying, where when you keep coming up short, these are the things you start to do. You stop believing in your process.
And it was interesting. Wyndham putted like right before him on a similar line, and his just needed to reach a little. I was like, oh, that's going to be way short. It reached almost to the hole, and it was so interesting. Scottie watched that and then just like, I'm not doing that. I'm not letting it have to. And he just hammered it. I thought it was disappointing. Like, I maybe that's too high a standard. I thought it was like, it was right there for him. If he obviously shooting the 67 at Shinnecock Hills is not easy. But that's kind of what we have seen and expect from him. I don't think he's a failure. I don't think he's worse than, he's washed or it's slipping away. There is sort of, I will say, like an undercurrent of that around the range a little bit. Not that he's washed, but like, oh, are there cracks? Are there people just asking questions kind of stuff? That wasn't a great Sunday performance.
No,
and maybe that's too harsh, but that's
I don't think it was a great tournament.
Frustrating.
I mean, the standard's so high. He finishes fourth, and this is the discourse. He was in the fight. I don't think you can underscore enough how big the finish yesterday was, where, missing the putt on 18, missing another putt on 17, coming down, like those 2 short putts, the 3 putt on 14, the miscalculation on 1. It isn't what we're used to seeing from Scottie. A little bit of carelessness, it feels like, but really what it is he's just not executing at the level that we've grown accustomed to. And I think they talked about this on the telecast some, but he had Ted Scott reading the putts. Mm-hmm. He never looked really comfortable on the greens. He spent a lot of time last night working on his putting, and I think that stemmed from kind of the way he finished. But listen, like that finish on Saturday could have been like the finish at Quail, where it was just
Turns
like,
it on.
whoa, like where did or like so many other, like it could have been one of those moments where it was like, yeah, Wyndham's out front, but did you just see what Scottie did? And then what it ended up being was he left himself just a little bit too far back, where he had to play an exceptional round of golf today. And he made a couple, the 2 biggest mistakes like that are just so evident is the approach on 1 and the 3 putt on 14. And if even if he just doesn't 3 putt 14, the whole dynamic on the 16th green is different. Or around the 16th green, he has a good lie. He has the ability to get up and down there for birdie. And if at that point, if he hadn't have 3 putted, he's only 2 back.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he pushed. He just, some of this too is in these tournament settings is having like a feel for what's happening, and knowing when you have to push. And it felt like today he pushed a little bit earlier than he really needed to.
This is going to sound maybe a little harsh. It was weird to see him sort of be a bystander at a major championship. Like he was just
Well, a lot of people wanted him to step in.
reduced to
He's got a lot of experience as a sheriff controlling crowds.
when he plays the final group, he wins. And he was coming from behind. It was just weird to see him be like kind of in like a Bernd Wiesberger role or something. Just like the guy who ended up in the last. PJ's shaking his head. I'm not suggesting he is that, but he was just there.
I can't believe you compared him to Bernd.
Oh, I'm not comparing him to Bernd Wiesberger's, but it was, Alex Smalley or what, I don't know, Matty Schmid. He was just there, and because he's Scottie, you kept wanting more and more and more, and he never got there. Other winners, the USGA, the Shinnecock Hills as a major championship course, I think is a winner. Any quibbles, any laments about the setup and the golf course examination? We ended up with how many people under par? 3. Trace, Wyndham Clark, Sam Burns, and Tom Kim.
4, 3, and 1.
There were a couple 66s today. There was 167 on Saturday. I think we've just... I think we've gotten, this goes back to a little bit with the Rodemink. There's too many armchair agronomists. There's too many armchair setup guys. I don't know what people want. Something that's either unnatural or it's never satisfactory. And I don't know. I don't know where the major issues were here. I think your point about them telegraphing, texting that like hey, it's going to be more firm tomorrow is sort of soft. I think Shinnecock's been in an odd position where it's really hard to set up. There's also a separate argument that like maybe we shouldn't host majors here because it's so hard to thread the needle of like something that's not 2004 or 18 and something that's not doesn't have everybody shouting you've gone soft. I thought they thread the needle pretty well this week, and in the end it was like today you guys are landing the ball short of greens to run it on at 12. Like you had to play defense, and I think that's what you want. I think the sort of conversation around setup and the brand of Shinnecock having these like they've lost the golf course, these memes of like Shinnecock is where like carnage and controversy happen, created this sort of bloodlust this week that I don't know, I guess having 3 guys under par at the end and how we got there left people frustrated at times.
Yeah. I think first and foremost, they got out of the week without anybody accusing them of losing the course.
Bob McIntyre, who we'll get to in losers, did lodge some complaints.
Well,
they didn't say they lost the course.
Yeah. And maybe for some people, they say that's not my U.S. Open if there's not a complaint. But I think they got through what, there are a lot of great things about the weather forecast. There are a lot of scary things about the weather forecast at a golf course that when it gets windy and dry, has a tendency to maybe get over the edge. So, were they a little soft in retrospect when the 40-mile-an-hour winds didn't come on Thursday? Maybe. But they got through the week. The course got tougher as the week went on. Saturday was really a challenging day. Today, the wind was not as strong as other days, and it was still challenging. And I think at the end of the day, like, what I take away from Shinnecock is what a hard golf course to just put together a full round. You just get slipped up every way. And like the perfect encapsulation of Shinnecock is like you move the pin on 15 today into that front right corner. And that was a bloodbath on 15. And people are like, oh, Sam Burns, what a bad bogey that was. And he was putting from like the one corner of the green. He had a 6-footer that was like tricky And it was windy. It sits up, and you've got a crosswind that you're putting across, and you're trying to read the green. I mean, nobody could get the ball close there. Again, the level of play of Wyndham and Scottie to hit it where they hit it on that hole, I was amazed at it. But, you have these holes where you can just like turn on a dime the difficulty of them by moving the hole location to these certain spots and with certain winds. Like, 10 today, exceptionally hard with that front pin. Exceptionally. Wyndham makes a birdie there. I mean, you think about some of the shots, and I think that's the thing, is the guys that were playing late were playing better than everybody else. And that's what you want, is if you look at, some of the players that were in the mix, like Rory, to me, didn't have the short game to get it done this week. He was just fractionally off. His iron play wasn't outstanding. But most notably, the difference between the Masters and this week was like his short game was so dialed in. Every time he missed a green, it was just like up to kicking. This week, we saw some struggles with it. If you go down the list, we talked about this with Gary Woodland. He was on the leaderboard, and then he showed himself out the door with some bad chips, which has routinely been his weakness. You look at Matty Fitz, he's in the final group on Saturday, but the first 2 rounds, he didn't drive the ball well. And then the 3rd round and the 4th round, he did not drive the ball well, but he got punished for it. Shinnecock gets you. You have to do everything exceptionally well. And what I actually love about it is there's enough space off the tee that if you drive it well, you're going to have iron shots into, clean iron shots from the fairway into every single green. They're just really hard iron shots. So it's not one of these golf courses where if you drive it well, you hit 8 of 14 fairways. If you drive it well, we're going to let you hit off short grass all day long, but it's not going to be easy.
You got a real shot you got to make.
Yeah,
afterwards.
You still, just because you drove it well doesn't mean it's over. And I think that's where so many of these golf courses have gotten to with technology is if I drive it well, then I'm going to have wedges and not have to think about elements or anything. Shinnecock, it almost starts after the drive, but you do have to get the drive in play to have a chance consistently. So I think the golf course is exceptional. Frankly, if there's so many complaints about it, maybe golf as a society doesn't deserve nice things, would be my kind of.
There was, I mean, as a venue, the golf course is fabulous. We've gone to many and most of these over the last decade. I think this, I have no personal connection to Shinnecock Hills. I didn't grow up in the Hamptons, never really came to the Hamptons except for Shinnecock now a few times, media days. I think it's the best one in terms of atmosphere, in terms of climate, in terms of golf course. I just think it's the best. There seems to be some issues with fan attendance. I would put New York fans in the loser category. What is it with you people, PJ? Either the grandstands are empty or you're complete hooligans out for heckling the shit out of people. Why can't we just be normal? Why can't we be somewhere in the middle and show up? It's just empty on Saturday and then Sunday they're being nasty. Clearly there's an issue getting here. It's very challenging. That feels rectifiable or correctable. Not a reason to go away from it. I think the USGA, to their credit, seem to be prioritizing it because it's a great golf course and know they're going to take some pain elsewhere. I don't know that every organization would do that. So is it going to be every 5 years? No. The club wouldn't want that. I don't think the USGA, based on the balance.
Next time they're here, it's back to back.
The women and the men. Yeah.
We might be posting up 2 weeks in the Hamptons. Maybe we should rent our house now. So see if we can catch another unsuspecting rentee.
So yeah, I don't know what more people want. I wrote that this morning. They prioritized everything. Rory talked about how you go out there and it's noticeable. There's fewer corporate things, in an era where everything is being, you're squeezing blood from a stone on every drop of every dollar and monetizing. I thought it was refreshing. It wasn't like it was the USAM or the Walker Cup, but it was super, super cool setup. Clearly, there are issues with getting out here, and it takes 3 hours to get back to the city, and that's why you had empty grandstands on Saturday night. Fortunately, you didn't really have that tonight, but the ones who were there were heckling the shit out of the leader. Other winners I'd throw in here, just we don't need to comment on all of it. Sam Stevens, super impressive. Harry Higgs, good to have Harry Higgs, like his commentary, his perspective, his personality. I think golf is better for it. Obviously gets a lot of attention for it. He was an early shotgun listener. Well, I think. I don't know if it probably doesn't anymore, but
He was our second interview ever.
he was our second interview
There
ever.
still might
Way
be
back.
less than 10.
Good to have him. He's a credit to the traveling circus that is pro golf. Another winner, Ryder Cohen. I was just expecting this guy to be vaporized out to sea, but he hung in there. Tied for low am.
I think the broadcast had a really bad day.
It sounds like they were awful. It sounds like a lot of playing through in commercials. I watch it on my phone as I'm walking around.
I think
Sounded
the
bad.
broadcast had a bad day. I did appreciate that they followed the Ryder Cohen Jackson Koiven battle for
Game within the game.
low am,
Yep.
and seeing Ryder Cohen make the birdie on 17 and then make a par on 18 to share low am with Jackson Koiven. Very cool. But that's all I have on the broadcast, really.
Yeah, I don't. It sounded bad. It sounded like a ton of commercials. Joseph might have been getting some intel on the ground, like, I don't know, different crews or something, and that's why it was bad today. Another winner, I had Koiven, very strong last amateur start. Miles Russell, very strong major debut.
Bringing his dad in.
That was really cool. I thought Lamagna. Check out our live blog if you want like a history of the event. We're going to do that at the Open. We thought that went well this week. The live blog's fun with everybody from staff chipping in. Lamagna said his dad coming under the ropes. You have to wonder if Mr. Russell scouted out number 18 all day and it learned exactly how the green breaks. Should caddy changes be allowed? Should they ding them? I love that. Trying to rain on the Father's Day heartwarming moment.
That sounds
Lamagna.
like a non-dad, you know. How about
Ding 'em,
Wyndham
2
persevering on Father's Day to win despite not being a father?
His dad surprised him. He walked right by us from that one side, the back of 18. Seemed happy to have his dad there. I guess that was a overnight red eye or something from Denver.
It's a tough red eye.
That is. So Miles Russell, big shout out.
Should we bring in Joseph and KVV?
Yeah, get him in here. Let's rip through losers real quick. I had Scheffler. Rory, like very slight, I guess. Just
didn't have it.
Hey, if he wins a major a year, it's like doing pretty good.
I think
but
the thing
that's an opportunity lost.
You think about these majors and it's about getting in the fray, and I think like it's hard to say loser to anybody that gets in the mix.
It's a harsh term.
But like
black and
it's
white.
like I think there's a lot of Ludwig hate. He was in the mix. He was in a place where one bad 9-hole stretch could wreck him and make everybody think like he could have had the bad 9-hole stretch at the beginning of the tournament and never really been a factor. You know.
I would kind of put Xander in the same category again. Xander with the near yellow, not quite yellow.
I don't think he still looks great.
73-72 on the weekend. I'm not saying he's back to house cat, but
I don't know if he's healthy.
yeah, he's still struggling with the side issues, the rib. So I had him there.
John Perry, big winner.
New York fans, losers. 7th hole, loser, absolute drive-by. You nuked that on the Saturday show, called it the bad hole, the Redan.
Got a lot of support, offline support for that.
Good. Broadcast got nuked. And then Robert McIntyre, who complained that the USGA didn't know what they were doing with the setup. They call it a links course. If they did that on a links course with the wind the way it was, the pin on 11, they don't know what they're doing. You can't do that with that kind of wind. Really, really went to town on him Saturday night.
I think I'm good on Bob.
Peace. Unsubscribed from Robert McIntyre. So unsurprised to hear
PJ's
him
boy.
getting It is?
I mean, I don't
Is
know
that
if
the
it's
producer cam?
yeah, Brunt Seafood producer Cam. Welcome. I'm still wearing my hat. I mean, I don't know if Bob is my boy, but
You were trying to tell me he was like a top 8 player in the world earlier this year.
We're just now cutting. We're cutting it in half. I said 15, and now we've gone to 8 because again, here he is. He's spinning these narratives.
Joseph,
This
I
is a
need your
narrative-based
backup. What were we doing? What were we?
Oh my God! It was 15. Like, what are we doing here? Hold on. Now I gotta unmute you. You're coming over here. Look,
PJ tried to kill me with a car yesterday, but I am gonna back him up. It was 15.
Tried is accidentally.
It was 15, but yeah, I don't know that Bob's a top 15 player right now.
I would agree with that. But here we were 3 months ago when we had this discussion.
We're aligned.
Can we
Do you think was Bryson a winner or a loser this week?
loser? Him and John Rahm disgraced themselves, exiting early.
I wasn't sure.
Early.
He might have had a good fundraising pitch this weekend.
We just stuck around in the Hamptons, some billionaire. One last loser. I don't know if you want to do this right now, but while Kevin and Joseph get situated. Enthusiasts for the rollback are probably a loser this week. Do you want to do that right now? I think that
we got to unpack that on another episode.
Here's my big question. Here's my big thing about the rollback news from Wednesday. We'll go wide ranging. All the parties involved don't have the benefit of the doubt, and they're the boy who cried wolf at this point to say like, oh, this is in the best interest to take a step back, and now something good might happen. We might get bifurcation again. We might get the driver head back again. There's like we're opening it up again. For me, the analogy would be, it's like being a Cleveland Browns fan. Like, Kevin's mic is caught. I don't know. He's having trouble with it.
It's on the bench.
It's like being a Cleveland Browns fan. Every fall or every summer, like I'm told, this is the GM. This is the quarterback. This is the coach. These are like the stats or the analytics or the record or the measurables. Like this, we have the right thing. But they're still the Browns. The parties involved, they're still the parties involved. And so I just need to see it. And I don't have a lot of faith right now that like, oh, trust me, this is going to happen now. Like, this is good stuff. This is actually a good thing. Whereas what we had planned was a half measure. When the equipment companies are still the equipment companies. If we're going to bifurcation back, they're the ones that killed bifurcation. Titleist killed bifurcation, the MLR. And so I just need to see it. That's where I'm at. I hear these like encouraging things like, no, this is actually going to be good. Like we have some new supporters and the tour might be more involved and might be more supportive of it, or this part. All we've seen is like delay and just spin the wheels like we're like in Congress. So that's my only takeaway from that is like, you got to show me. All right, I'm listening again, but you have to show me. And now we're going to 2030, so it's going to be a while.
I completely agree. And I think like, you know, one thing I took away from this, you cannot trust the equipment manufacturers, as you stated. They fought this. I think the USGA has operated, they want to do the right thing. I don't think they've actually known really how to do the right thing. And maybe they haven't been as forceful as you would like them to. The players are always going to drag their feet because the players have a short range view. The USGA is trying to do something for the next 50 years of the game or 100 years of the game. Players are concerned with like their next 3 years of their career. Most players of the PGA Tour's careers are less than 5 years on the PGA Tour. And so you have this dichotomy of all these people. And like one of the things that I heard a lot of on the ground from parties that were interested in the rollback was like, well, like now they have Brian Rollap on their side because Brian Rollap wants like driver regulation and he sees an issue.
What? Brian Rollap wants driver regulation?
I mean, that's like a rumor that's going around this week.
You hear this and my response was, well, like So you're going to bank on Brian Rollback being in this job till 2030 and still believing the same thing in 2030 that he believes today? So I just don't have... I share your sentiment. I don't think it was a good day. I have some positivity and enthusiasm that possibly the driver head will be on the table, where you have a reduced, driver head, reduced sweet spot. In my conversations with players all week, I think there's actually a growing frustration amongst players that the driver head has gotten too easy to hit. And that's the first time that I've felt that way, that almost I would say like a large percentage of the tour believes that there are players on tour that don't hit the center as often as they should for how good of drivers of the golf ball they are talked about to be. So that would be my positive, my optimism is that, hey, the driver head might be on the table, but this is by no means a good week.
That was the thing.
Like, this being framed as good. It's like 2030.
If you're not a party to this
went from 2027 to 2028 to 2030.
And now we don't even know what it is.
And we've spent 25 years working on it.
And we don't even know what 2030 is. We just, we'll have some. If you are not a party to this, and by that I mean not the USGA or the RNA, and you're like saying this is good, like you're a sucker. You're a mark. Like you can be like, this could be good.
Yeah.
But you should approach it with given the parties involved, the highest possible skepticism. You're like, and what was proposed might not have worked, might not have been bad. It might not have, the Cameron Young situation might not have been the full measure. But like to suggest, like based on what we've seen for 2 decades, that this is a good thing to have this nebulous, we're going to do something. And like the date's a firm thing after all we've seen. Like, no, it could be like, well, we're drawing the line in the sand with the date. We don't know what we're doing, but we're drawing the line in the sand with 2030. We keep
like
pushing it back.
The Live Tour merger.
Right. The June, yeah. By the end of December 31st, 2023 was when the merger had to be consummated. Did that happen?
No, I don't think it's happened yet. The last thing on this that I'll say about it is the biggest part about the 28 date was just the precedent of the ball being regulated.
Yes.
Was the precedent that, hey, the USGA is the governing body and everybody they set the rules. And this is what happens. And one of the things I've heard that is a positive thing is from like the idea that Rollback has been like, wait a second, how does this work? Like in the NFL, we just say to Wilson, this is what a football is.
Or, this is how we're doing kickoffs now. Sack up and learn how to do this new kickoff, special teams coach. Are you an athlete or are you not? We change the rules all the time. This is allegedly maybe a point of view. I don't know.
We'll see. This is all rumors and scuttlebutt, and I would take it with a grain of salt. But this was not a good week for the USGA and the rollback in terms of that aspect. I think it was a great week for the USGA with the championship. The cautious approach to setup paid off in the end. Even though people were frustrated at times, and so I think, but this was a bad Wednesday.
I think I came away, Andy, thinking, is Mike Wan a good leader or is he a good salesman? And I don't know the answer to that. Like, I think he's been good at the PR stuff, but that doesn't mean like he's crushing it on the leadership level.
I think he's taking a beating from a lot of different directions now, and he's like, I don't know that I wanted to sign up for this, and like the players are giving it to him.
It might be an impossible position to have. It might be just an untenable
Yeah,
position.
they're just what sucked was there weren't like any real details about what's going to be governed and how we're going to govern it, and other than like we're stepping back again, and this time the tour is going to have even more input. We're not going to govern without the tours on this issue. Govern without the tours like stamp of collaboration.
Joseph, did you have anything additionally on that?
Not really. I think the story that Juan is trying to tell, and whether you believe him or not is up to you, but I think what he's trying to tell is that in his experience on this issue, there has never been any level of buy-in from players about addressing any of this until now. And he is taking them at their word that they are sincere about wanting to address the issue. You guys are laughing, and I share that skepticism.
Situation.
I
the
share the
players are going to slow walk him to 2030 and be like, I mean, we're not doing this. And you knew who we were when you brought us in. Like,
There'll be a whole new set of players that they're going to have to convince by 2030. Like half the tour will have turned over by then.
That is the message.
That's all.
And I do think it was a good idea to kill the current proposal, given what kind of impact it looked like it was going to have, which was going to burn some political capital and not have the effect. Based on all indications, it was probably going to be a pretty big disaster.
maybe he was like, hey, Miles Russell, you can do this daddy caddy thing if in the future I have your votes, to regulate the golf ball.
Pro quote, daddy caddy. Anyways, all right. That was the massive, massive story that obviously we're going to talk about at the end of the week. It's just, as one very prominent player said to me, like the players shouldn't govern themselves. They shouldn't make their own rules. And when you get this JT thing of like amateurs shouldn't become ungovernable, amateurs have no power over me. That's how every sport kind of works, man. Like if the inmates run the asylum, there's a race to the bottom and you end up with, the only thing that's serving you like what's right in front of your nose and not maybe what's in the best interest of your entire future economic situation, economic of the game. They don't need to govern themselves. Joseph, Kevin, how are your days?
Can I just circle back for a minute? In the words of Don Reyes. I think that we ought to, and it's real like guy in the hot dog costume meme, like we're looking for the guys who did this, but I would like to propose that we try our best, and I'm not saying necessarily us, but just as a larger like golf media, golf fandom, try not to judge a tournament like halfway through. Like, this is bad, this is terrible, this is like the whole arc of this week kind of redeemed itself in the final like 18 holes. Like we had a really good tournament. We have a worthy champion. We had good golf shots being rewarded. Like all of that stuff kind of played out. I think like Bodenheimer did a pretty good job of dealing with a lot of different elements. I'm not sure like anybody watches a movie and then halfway through is like, this movie sucks. Like this is terrible. Like I can't even watch the rest of it. Well, you watch the whole movie and then you make that decision ultimately. And not like a little bit of that goes against our business of like talking about it every day and every night. But I think a little perspective is kind of important, just thinking about, where we're going and how we end up there.
I mean, it's just a unique sport to analyze, and we do a nightly podcast during these majors. And
no other sport does a podcast between quarters.
Right, like the Knicks Spurs game 4. Like, are we doing that? Right? I mean the Knicks are a disgrace. They lost both home games. Embarrassing. Right?
I've seen PJ abandon the Knicks and then reclaim them in like possession to possession.
The problem with the golf discourse is that like that narrative kind of sets in and has a residual effect into Sunday, into Monday, into the full accounting or review of it, right? Maybe it's not the final accounting, but yeah, it is. I don't know. Yeah, too many judgments, too many sweeping judgments, I guess.
And honestly, to take it a step further, not every tournament ends up being a banger. Like we've been on a run of some unbelievable major championships, but sometimes a guy wins by 5 and the win doesn't show up and it doesn't end up being the most satisfying major championship you've ever seen. And this temptation to assign blame somewhere, like something went wrong here. I think people really just got over their skis trying to do that this week.
My second other point would just be, I was thinking a lot about this tonight as I was walking back to the media center after being in Wyndham's press conference. It's like, what a weird thing it is to be a professional athlete in this era where obviously you have to be good at sports, but like we ask you to be like really charismatic, to be really funny, to have like the gift of gab, to sort of command the room and be cool. And maybe that's always existed, but I think it's more evident than ever. Like, I feel a little bit sympathetic towards Wyndham Clark with not like totally excusing what he did. Like, obviously it sucked and it was sort of shitty, but also like he's just kind of a naturally awkward guy. And how weird is it that like you spend your whole life trying to be really good at a sport and that's your sole focus. And then when you get there, someone throws you in front of the media and is like, all right, be super charming, man. Like, tell us stories. Oh, by the way, be really vulnerable about who you are too. Could you talk about your insecurities? Could you be really vulnerable about it? Hey, and if you do that, your dreams, if you do that, we would happily use it against you if it goes wrong. And I just kind of felt like, man, it's a weird thing that we're asked. I don't know how to kind of make sense of it entirely. Just that I sort of felt like for Wyndham, man, I guess the guys apologize. You know, you don't have to accept it, or you do. But it left me a little bit, it's like, maybe I ought to be a little less harsh in judging some people sometimes when they don't come across as charismatic as Rory or as charming as Jordan Spieth. Like, that's not their job. Their job is to hit a golf ball. And I can appreciate that without having to really consider all the other stuff that heavily. But if you want to consider that stuff, that's your prerogative too.
He didn't kill anybody.
Well, that's what I always maintained about Don Rayo. You know, they act like
he didn't go to live. He talked about maybe going, but he didn't go.
He was dabbling. There were dalliances.
Hey, I just realized. You know, you said that asking somebody how they sleep is inappropriate. You asked somebody about their dreams tonight.
I'm just telling you.
That's more invasive than how did you sleep. You should have started with how did you sleep. And then you could have gotten to the dream.
Teach you how. Hey, Wyndham, how we sleeping this week? Julie Elion. Joseph, what do you make of Julie Elion after this week?
She's not camera shy.
That range session was, she's like, wait, was it windy yesterday? Like, yeah, it was crazy in the morning. It's like, but you missed it. It's like, yeah, we were off at 3:45. Like, not dialed in, but that's not part of her job.
In her defense, she did the exact same thing in LA, and he said that she was actually really good about just getting his mind off of what was going on before that. I was the lead to the story that I wrote. It was about her like talking about Los Angeles real estate. You know,
they were talking about Sabonic or something today.
I mean, Miles Russell. I thought if Wyndham had a 3-shot lead, I think Julie might have come into caddy for him down 18.
You should push her book that one of my friends wrote. Buy Julie's book. It was written by a very good writer, Barry Shaluga.
I was bummed. You know, after this week, I have a copy of that book, and today I got to the course and I'm like, God, I should have brought my book to get signed by her. Mm-hmm. She would have definitely signed it.
She's moving people out of the pain.
You get a lot of business, though. I mean, there's a lot of people are going to be like, man, if you took this guy and made him into a 2-time U.S. Open champion with the head case that he is, I would love to get some of that.
Buy my book. I would just push back slightly on you just there. I think you make a good point. Like, Don Draper, that's what the money is for, and that's what the fame is for. And, like, if you're going to be a dial tone, then, I don't know, he's got SoFi and T-Mobile, all these ads, and, like, you make a ton of money. Doesn't mean you have to be charismatic, but, like, you know, you are afforded this incredible life, and sometimes you're going to be put in the crosshairs.
Not everybody can be Sam Stevens. Delightful individual.
Lamagna, how would you rate this major? We respect sometimes your thoughts and insights on various subjects.
Just seeing Joseph's face change in that moment.
I think
sometimes
you don't have to take that.
Not to get personal for a minute, but I think this year was your first Masters, right? And you could see it how, like, you know, you were taking it all in. And then being with you on Monday night, I think, when your first loops around Shinnecock, you're like, this is like the coolest place in the world. And then walking out at night, you seem to, how would you rate the week?
Seeing Shinnecock was really cool. I feel like I do think it's the best U.S. Open venue and exactly what I want out of a major championship venue. The tight runoffs, the reliability of wind, how demanding every golf hole is out there, and I think how memorable each hole is once you've walked it once. It kind of checks every box for me. And then the other part, I walked pretty much all 18 with Sam Burns today, and I think that will be my lasting takeaway from this tournament. And I know you guys have already talked about this a little bit at the top of the show, but I know I haven't been doing this as long as you guys have, but I feel like I have a pretty good sense of what really good golf looks like. And I'm not sure I've watched too many people who were as in command of their golf swing as Sam Burns was today. He played such a good round, and he putts so well that I know, like, Wyndham won, and Sam said afterwards, like, Wyndham was the best player. But, like, Sam did come from the wrong side of this draw, and I think you can make a really good case that he was he was about as good as anybody. I know that's, like, it starts to sound like you're poo-pooing Wyndham's win to say that Sam Burns might have been the best player in the field, but I was more impressed with how Sam played than how Wyndham played. No disrespect to Wyndham. And it made me think that Sam Burns is a major championship caliber golfer. And the way he handled the loss. I'm writing a little bit about it for tomorrow's newsletter, but it was really cool to watch him like be so disappointed visibly, but also have put out a performance that he should be proud of.
What do you make on Sam Burns, considered, one of the better putters, one of the best putters in the world? What do you make of this notion? And it's a statistical driven notion that, What are you laughing at?
I know where you're going with this.
That Shinnecock 2018 and now this year, too large a proportion of the success is based on putting.
I think it's a really stupid talking point, and we're doing it because
a putting contest, so to speak.
Right. I mean, generally what that analysis looks like is like what percentage of scoring this week was dictated by strokes gained putting versus the other categories. And I think that's one way to look at it. There were 2 par 5s, and generally par 5s are where people can really separate from tee to green. If there were 4 par 5s at Shinnecock, like just, lengthening some of the holes or whatever, just the layout was a little bit different. More of the separation would have come from tee to green. I also think that if the wind had shown up, there would be more separation from ball striking versus putting. And it didn't show up, but the golf course still held its own. And I think the implication that it was a putting contest suggests that you couldn't separate from tee to green. And if you watched the golf shots, I just don't think that was true.
I think I don't know exactly. I'm not the best with how all these analytics work. The repelling nature of Shinnecock's greens lend themselves, like a super challenging second shot golf course would then lend themselves to scrambling. No, right?
Yeah, I mean, small greens, some wind. Yeah, sure.
So if there are a lot of missed greens and then you have to get up and down a lot, you probably have a lot of like putts in this 6 to 12 foot range, where if you make them, like Wyndham made a lot of them, putting's important because you're having to save par a lot at this very demanding golf course. And I think that might be it, is like you just aren't just, I don't know.
But take the 16th hole, par 5, straight back into the wind. How could you separate on that hole? Well, Wyndham made a long putt off the green, so it wouldn't actually qualify as strokes gained putting, but call that putting.
I thought that was on the green.
It was on the green.
Was it on the green? Okay, I thought it was just off the back.
Yeah.
So for sure, that goes in the strokes gained putting. And Sam Burns made birdie, making like an 18-foot putt for birdie. Does that mean you couldn't separate from tee to green on that hole?
We saw it on Saturday.
Well, sure, right, and that was a different wind.
That was separating.
I just don't agree with the implication that when putting is explaining a lot of the scoring, it means that you couldn't have separated from tee to green. I just don't think that logic necessarily holds.
You've done at least 3 U.S. Opens in a row with us.
Yeah, this was way better than the last 2.
Pinehurst, Oakmont, Shinnecock. Rate them.
Muddy Mont?
Easy. Shinnecock 1, Pinehurst 2, and Oakmont a distant 3.
Those are 3 very, I don't know if they're anchor sites, but 2 are for sure anchor sites.
That's easy. Would anyone disagree?
Probably not. Based on the experiences. Muddy Mont, maybe with Mother Nature contributed to that one. Although apparently someone was referring to this as not Shinnecock, but Dustcock, which sounds just not suitable. Like Muddy Mott, like Oakmont was Muddy Mott. It did get dusty and dry out there. That seems not suitable, though, for work. NSFW. What other takeaways do you have from the day, boys?
Go ahead, Kevin.
What a missed opportunity this was for Rory. Just a little bit sloppy here and there. I mean, I think, he didn't have a lot to gain today, but so he was sort of sending it on a few holes. He almost drove the first green, and I think made bogey when he chipped off the green.
I think he made a par.
Did he make a par? I think he got a little bit away from some of the disciplined golf that made him a pretty darn good U.S. Open player in the last, 5 or 6 Opens. So I think he might lament some of that. I mean, I think it's just really fair to be super disappointed in Rahm. I mean, he was right there. He shot 68 the first day, I think. He was in it, and then he just completely ejected on the day 2, despite being in the exact same wave that Wyndham was when it was really soft. I don't know what happened there or where he is mentally, but I just, he and Bryson, it's more fun when they're involved. And it's such a disappointment that they have not really been involved much in majors this year. At least, John hasn't been involved in 2 of them. Bryson hasn't been involved in 3 of them. I really hope that they're involved for at Birkdale, because they're just too good to be just throwing away opportunities like this. I think too, I think, Joseph, you really were right about Scottie. Like, something is a little different this year. I'll concede that. I'm happy to revisit that conversation. Maybe I fell in love with narrative too much as opposed to like the actual data that was in front of us, which is showing that he was just not the same iron player that he was last year for whatever reason that is. Maybe he'll return to that. Maybe he won't. But I never felt today at all walking with that group like Scottie was going to make a run. And that's a bummer because, he really is the best player out there. Why can't he make any of those putts? Like, it just, that 3-putt on 14 was super discouraging. That was just basically the last of his chances. And, when you look, he'll probably win a U.S. Open, but he let a really good opportunity in this one slip away. And who knows what it's going to be like at Pebble. Those greens are super tiny. Maybe that'll make him that much better, but maybe not. And then all of a sudden we're 2-3 years removed from those Grand Slams starts to weigh on you. Like, history kind of makes it clear that like you can't miss on so many opportunities. You have to jump on those chances if you want to get to, double-digit majors, which I think is like the hope that we all think Scottie's. Andy doesn't, but we hope that Scottie's, that good enough to be in that conversation.
He's been in it, Brookline, LA, and then this week, what I'd say were 3 pretty legit chances.
I mean, he
Top
honestly,
10 at Oakmont,
he should have won Brookline too. Yeah, he putted poorly down the stretch at Brookline and missed a couple of real easy opportunities and should have been in the mix with Fitzy and Zalatoris. So, I don't know. Like, it just weighs on you the more, if Rory can testify to that, it weighs on you the more missed opportunities you have.
I think the part where when people are fighting me on this, like, well, Scottie, we might have seen the best of Scottie in 2025. Part of the counter argument people will give is like, well, he's been second so often. If he just wins, a couple putts go in and he wins this tournament, you'd talk about him completely differently. And to be honest, no, I wouldn't, because Scottie was winning tournaments by 4 or 5 shots a year ago. And I think just the broader point is it is extremely difficult to sustain that level of excellence. Only the all-time greats do it. And Scottie might be an all-time great. He might find a little something, get his swing cleaned up. He might win at Birkdale. But my other biggest takeaway was just how quickly the game changes. And Andy, you talking about Wyndham Clark's been the best player since the PGA. I mean, I hadn't really thought about it that way, but you're right. Like, he has been the best player since the PGA, and guys go on these little runs. The only guys who stay, like Rory's basically been the only player the last 15 years that you can just guarantee he's going to be a top 5 player in the world year in and year out. Scottie might be. I'm sure he will be a top 5 player for the next 2 to 3 years, but things change really quickly. And these other guys, a Sam Burns, a Wyndham Clark, they get their 18-month window and pick off a few majors. They're really, really hard to win. So yeah, I think we'll see with Scottie, but he's definitely not the player that he was last year, at least as of now.
I think also you saw it with Tiger, you saw it with Phil, you saw it with Ernie. You've seen it with Rory too. Is like different periods of time with all-time great players. There are lulls, and we might just be in like a little bit of a lull with Scottie, and he could come back next year or halfway through next year and be completely back with a vengeance. And that's golf is so hard. It's so hard to play. You're just waiting to go on the run. And I think about one thing I think about all the time is Hideki Matsuyama. The best run of golf we got from him in his career came in November and December. And it's like, well, you're SOL. There's no majors that time of year. He was mopping up people in like 2018 in December, or in like November and December. And it's about timing up your runs and when you're playing your great golf with the most important tournaments, whatever level you are. Mm-hmm. And it's so hard to do because sometimes you end up just being a little bit off when you need to be really on. And it's at this level, you can't. It's so hard. You have to be so extremely talented to win without your best stuff. And Scottie hasn't had his best stuff. I mean, again, demanding second shot golf course. And if you look at the analytics, like 17th in approach to the green.
There's a lot of shots Scottie's hitting right now that he wasn't hitting a year ago.
Yeah.
There's just a little, that strike wasn't quite right, and the distance control was a little off. And we're talking about the king of distance control of the past 10 years.
I think the first hole was a great example of that. Like, he and Wyndham are both in the fairway. Scottie hits a shot that's like maybe a yard from being pin high and great, and it runs all the way off, and he makes bogey. And Wyndham hits a shot that checks up and spins a little bit more, and is pin high and makes an easy par on that first hole. It's like, that's the difference right there in how they're playing right now. Like, Wyndham is hitting crisper, cleaner shots with more spin, and no one could say that last year about Scottie. No one was hitting better iron strikes than he was.
Driver's also got a lot of curve going on
a lot of that's been going for a couple of months now.
Yeah. Brandel did a great swing breakdown. It does look like Scottie swinged a little steep. So I don't know enough about the golf swing to go all in on that perspective, but I think there might be a little something going on.
What'd you make of Akshay beating Rory by 3, top 20, $280,000 payout for Akshay?
I'm super impressed with him.
Okay.
We'll see where he goes from here, and where all he travels and who travels with him, but I think he has a very bright future. PJ, any notes from the boys' corner? I know you noticed you had some toasty tales, maybe.
We gotta get the boys 2 mics.
Well, we're making it work. I didn't think we were going 5 wide as early as we did, so I didn't have time to pivot. Yeah, I do have a toasty tale. Toasty once again on the grounds today. In his Adidas scripting, going out to watch the golf, as we all were.
I love that. Charming.
How great is that? I heard Toasty's got some rollback takes, Andy.
Yes, I love this.
I have from a fairly placed source that Toasty is okay with maybe a driver head reduction. Said he'd be okay hitting it only like 280, but he wants a little kickback on the other side. Do you have a guess on maybe what Toasty wants to even out with?
He's okay hitting it 280, but he needs a concession.
Does he want the hole bigger?
He wants an inch on each side of the hole.
No.
He's avant-garde. I love Toasty.
What a take.
Well, goes back to, I think it was George Thomas had written in the 20s that, I think it was George. Apologies if it wasn't George Thomas, but he wanted putting to only be a half shot.
Okay.
Hogan was on that train for a while.
Yeah.
He was like, every green should be a funnel, and we should count them as half shots.
Oh, that's a good one.
So
love Toasty.
Toasty might be a rollback comrade, but he needs a little kickback.
I think Spieth would be great
side.
if the hole was an inch bigger on each side. Like, look out, Spieth.
I mean, Sam Burns would have won the U.S. Open.
What other notes do we have? Oh, I got a good one.
Yeah, if my grandma had wheels, she'd be a cart. Toasty also is planning on flying himself to Dallas for the Argentina game.
Oh, he's just going to fly down to the World Cup game. Love that.
Jerry World.
Love that.
Toasty and Jerry World feels like an experience.
Good for him sticking around. What other notes do I have?
I'm going back into my
We got to go
notes
to
right
Aaron
now.
Rye corner.
We do have to go to Aaron Rye minute. That was the next thing I had in my
There's
notes.
one I had was that apparently the last members play was a shotgun Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Shotgun for members going into U.S. Open week. And they had to put him on the front of the range, which is on a slight downslope, and they were very frustrated, very pissed off that they were hitting on the range off a downslope, but playing Saturday before the U.S. Open. So that's great. That's great. I mean, it's a membership that probably usually gets what they want and plays it how they want. But so that was a good one. What's Aaron Rye minute? What do we have on Aaron Rye?
Andy's got to start here.
Yeah, I had a great week
This
with
is
encounters
hilarious.
with Aaron Rye. It was Friday afternoon, and I needed to get back to the media center, and I was on 16. So I jumped over to 18 green to kind of like cut up and around rather than walk through like a sea of tick-laden long grass.
The ticks.
Yeah, the ticks.
I'm anxious about ticks.
Tick watch all the time. Get Joseph some grape.
Hoping some grape.
So anyways, I have to wait on 18 green for Colin Morikawa and Aaron Rye to finish up. And Colin had played, a great round. And then I walk up the hill, and at this point, Aaron Rye and Colin are giving golf balls to the standard bearer and the scoring marker or whatever they call them. And they go, Aaron Rye goes and shakes the hand of both of them, and he goes, "Thank you for being out with me." Just like
To you.
No, to them.
Everyone. Yeah.
And anyways, he turns back around, and then he comes back and he notices me, and he walks up right to me, and I'm thinking, like, what is this guy doing? And he goes, "Thank you for walking with us." And I go, "Well, I didn't. I just showed up. But congrats on winning on your win last month." And he looked at me and he was like, "Oh, thank you."
Andy's one of the few people I know who wouldn't just let it ride, who would actually be like, "No, I actually didn't." I would have just like, "Yeah, it's great.
Champion.
Go our separate ways."
I didn't want
but you
him
had to correct
think,
it.
I didn't want him to think that I was just, walking with him all the time. And maybe in a future situation, he'll be like, "Do you remember the shot I hit on the 16th hole in that round you walked with me?" I'd be like, no, I wasn't there.
I kind of feel like you owe it to Aaron Rye to now walk with him in the future.
I thought about he played with ZB. So anyways, then today.
Wait, can I jump you with my Aaron Rye?
Yeah.
Because this goes off with ZB. So those two finish up. I'm standing right at the clubhouse where scoring is. Where
Mine is terrible.
Not good grape.
That was my first sip. I waited till about the 2 hour mark to take a sip.
We got delivered some good grape, and then we bought some
This is not with the grape that Wendy's had.
We bought some grape in a different tax bracket than the grape that got delivered earlier this week.
Maybe we're not in Wendy's tax bracket yet, but one day. So he and
We need
ZB
more
play.
people to watch the live show and tune into the pod.
Yeah, like, comment, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube right now. We can get some
Buy
better
some
grape
Max
in here.
Flies.
He's coming. ZB walks by. He's going to scoring, and right next to the stairs where Andy spilled his iced coffee, as he may or may not have done today. As
I didn't do it today.
There was a photo in our group chat of some iced coffee
bullshit.
right on the stairs, right there. That maybe Andy did it again. Who's to say? Aaron Rye, ZB comes in. He's in scoring for 2 minutes at minimum, probably longer. Aaron Rye is signing every autograph, shaking every hand, taking every selfie, taking phones out of fans' hands, and taking the pictures himself in that little path coming off 18. And he realizes that ZB is already in scoring and so far ahead of him, and he breaks into a dead sprint to go catch up with ZB in scoring because he didn't want Zach to wait. He
seems like an
sprinted
ultimate
by.
gentleman.
He just waved at everybody, gave a salute, and said thank you to everybody. Aaron Rye might be the nicest person in the world.
Thank you for being out with me.
Well, it gets better.
Well, it gets better. So, anyways, after the tournament concludes,
So you hit him Saturday, gets you. Now Sunday.
No, Friday.
Okay, all right.
PJ sees him, Sunday, but then Sunday happened, and Wyndham finishes out, and the girlfriend spills out onto the green really early.
Oh, that was
Then all the bros came on the green, the family members, and I'm trying to get some like commentary. You're always trying to find some like nuggets, so I kind of like trail the family, and there's Aaron Rai standing on the hill on the way up to the clubhouse, and while the whole family is walking by, he's just going, "Congratulations!" And once again, he says to me, "Congratulations!"
It's Andy, Brentley, Brody Miller, me, and Aaron Rodgers looks at Andy and goes, "Congratulations."
So he just mistakes you for everything. That's so good. Sounds like he's too nice.
Such a nice guy.
Aaron Rodgers absolutely living in a Curb Your Enthusiasm plot.
I think Aaron Rai has shot up the lunch guest list.
Yeah.
I would love to just get an Aaron Rai.
The boys have
his head for 10 minutes.
have been very, very selective about lunch guests. They're just
they didn't want a former major winner as a lunch guest.
Sabotaged intentionally.
They intentionally sabotage.
They're like, no, we don't want. I was like, you take what you want. You can take a major winner if you can get it. No lunch.
We're selective, but we might have a massive guest this week.
We might have a super live one-on-one.
All right.
What he lacks in ball speed, he makes up for in everything else.
Under the umbrella. All right.
I can't wait to hear what Traveler's question you asked.
Anything else? Any other sweeping thoughts? We good? We good here? Any other notes, amusements? PJ, do you have any other clearinghouse notes you want to get out there?
A lot of people are asking you to apologize for Long Island in general. Do you feel, obligated to issue any statements?
We're doing this again. I mean, this is like, I'll give you guys the credit for saying whatever you want about the fans today. I will not give people credit who might have left before the tournament even started, who have takes on the Long Island fans. If you weren't in the arena today, I don't think you have the jurisdiction to make any sweeping statements. I once again stand with the people who had a 3-hour plus commute back into the city. Egregious. We don't need to keep battling that. Yeah, man. What do you want me to say? We shouldn't like outwardly boo people on the golf course.
Definitely some people getting on us about misinformation with trains. There was trains available, but
it just takes too long.
It was just taking
no express. That 640 is like the sweet spot.
Talking about Toasty, just got to also shout out winner for the week, the code of conduct policy. Weigh in on this thing. And I hope they start applying it with like much less rigor. Just start throwing it out there.
The Live Nerds were asking me in my mentions tonight if Sam Burns should get a code of conduct penalty for tossing
his
putter after he missed a putt because all club throws should be judged the same.
That is so
if you didn't
sick.
listen to Saturday night, Andy had some scuttle that apparently the throw by Neiman was 70 yards. So now we're calling him Jamarcus Neiman because he threw his club 70 yards. Seems like it was warranted, the 2-shot penalty.
There's an urban legend that Brian Billick drafted Kyle Bowler because he threw the ball through the goalpost from his knees, which is a great skill to have as a quarterback. So that would be impressive.
I love the code of conduct policy. Let's just start throwing it out. They would have popped Phil for that last time, in addition to the moving ball penalty. Code of conduct.
What I love about the whole situation is that the player who did it, who's being penalized, is just like, yep, okay. Yeah, I deserved it. But yet there's this delusional legion of fans that are saying he was targeted. If he was targeted and unjustly penalized, then I would assume the player who's penalized would be like, this is bullshit, I got penalized, and being mad. But instead, he's just like, yeah, I shouldn't have done that.
He was emotional but contrite.
Yeah.
I never imagined people would ride so hard for their ability to throw clubs. There's a whole legion of people out there who's like, no, that should be part of the game. We
I think
throw clubs.
this collection of individuals is written for a lot worse than throwing clubs. So
It's true.
and that's
All right.
that does it.
What grade for the major? A? Joseph? We don't need to get into it.
I'll go A-. I think a lot of it was. Yeah, no, I'll go A. It got to an A by the end.
PJ? Sorry, I didn't mean to.
I'll go B+.
Okay.
I think not by the USGA's doing. They got jammed on the market share with the World Cup. This was before the World Cup was in New York, New Jersey. Knicks title. I think they got kind of jammed in the New York sports market this week. So it did feel somewhat juiceless to me throughout the week. So I'll go B+ rather than A-.
Kevin?
I'll go A- because I don't like the sending out of text messages being like, "Hey, it's going to get harder today." Like, and just in general, I think they're still scared of the players like being angry. Like maybe they could err on the side of it just being too hard. The first 2 days.
I think the first couple, the line between we can't play golf today and the line between like soft screens was not a lot. There wasn't a lot of room for like subjective choices there. And yeah, the text, I agree with you on the text message. I think they got, and John Bodenhamer runs a different kind of ship than the preceding era, which was quite frankly full of embarrassments. I wouldn't use that term, but I think they were embarrassed in several instances. So, Andy, grade for the major?
I'd go A-.
Yeah.
I think the weather didn't. The meteorologist didn't have the best week.
Seriously, what's up with the weather guys are effective as the rollback advocates.
I mean, I could go lower too. I had an issue. I tripped up the stairs. That were maybe a little slippery.
God.
No, A- would be my. I think it was a really good major.
I'm getting roasted for peering the screen, looking like an idiot today. The people are. I'm not feeling good about myself now.
Yeah, that was weird.
What I appreciated was our team room. When I appeared, they saw me taking a picture both vertically and wide because I was thinking about our team and our needs as an editorial organization, capturing moments for both the website and for socials.
Oh, a great
Meanwhile,
week.
you're just standing there.
I am
you could have been
standing there.
taking your phone.
I took a few pictures.
Could have been pictures in the newsletter.
I took a few pictures. It seems like, I don't know, we're not supposed to be out there taking. When we go to the Open next, they start yelling at you, start taking pictures.
Still photos.
Anyways, a great week. Thank you for following. An A for me.
Good luck at the Open.
Thanks. Can't wait. That was such a just pop.
I hope you'll thank us
I'm
for
like
being
at
there.
the 2 hour mark. I'm like not ready to
Thank
do
you for
another
being
major
here.
for a year. And you're like, you have fun at that Open. It's a great life. We were very fortunate to do it. Thank you for
That's
listening.
more about the media regulations.
Yeah. There's some battle axes that come and chopping for us. We're working our way into their good graces, though. Probably not with that comment. Everybody enjoy your Mondays. Thank you for supporting the Fried Egg. Thank you for supporting the live blog. We will have a great newsletter out tomorrow morning. Subscribe to that. Andy will have Fried Egg Pod with Trevor Immelman coming at some point in the next couple days.
Monday night it should be up.
You'll go over this.
Fingers crossed. No flight issues.
Yep. Fingers crossed. We'll be back on Tuesday night or probably Wednesday morning. Roll-App's going to do his State of the Union or State of the Schedule address. We'll break that down. Can't wait for travelers, maybe. So lunch with the boys, perhaps. So thank you for supporting Fried Egg Shotgun Start. We will talk to you soon.